Jones Dairy Farm is a seventh-generation family-owned and operated company located in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. For more than 135 years, Jones has been using real, natural ingredients, original recipes, and time-honored traditions to create distinctive and timeless products. Jones is known for producing premium, all-natural breakfast sausage, naturally smoked hams and Canadian bacon, all-natural meatballs, and dry-aged bacon. All certified gluten-free. The Madison Symphony Orchestra has a holiday treat that runs from now until December 31st. This season, give the gift of music to the special people in your life, or yourself. During the Symphony's annual holiday ticket sale, tickets to their subscription concerts in January, March, April, and May are just $30 or $60. They're valid on their 4 remaining symphony shows: Beethoven, Legacy, Yearnings, and Gershwin. Help the Madison Symphony round out its 99th season and get tickets today. Today on CityCast Madison. It's Thursday, so of course, we're dishing on Madison's food scene. I feel like every new year, I see people make resolutions to eat out less and up their cooking game. But with a food scene as good as Madison's, that is quite the challenge. But it's possible. That's why we are bringing back our conversation with former CityCast Madison executive producer Molly Stentz and Cap Times food editor Lindsay Christians on the best cookbooks. Whether you are just getting started or looking to recreate some Madison staples, we've got you covered. It's Thursday, December 26th. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Lindsay, hello.
Hello. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Molly. Hey.
Hello, hello.
All right, now we are having this conversation because it's the time for cooking and baking and holiday gatherings, so...
It's the biggest cookbook month of the year, easily, right? Like, this is when people who are not cookbook people the rest of the year become cookbook people.
And this might be my moment after this conversation. I'm already like a teeny bit in, but I know like when I talk to people who are this into it, it makes me excited. How many cookbooks do you own?
A gazillion.
Because they're behind you right now. Like, I see them behind you.
Oh, this isn't even most of them. There's like a huge built-in bookshelf that my husband built me in the main living room that is just floor to ceiling. And
floor to ceiling?
I'm very specific about the cookbooks that I want because I want cookbooks that mostly I'm going to use. But then there are also like the nostalgic ones that you can't get rid of. Like my grandmother's like Betty Crocker cookie book that's like held together with duct tape. I will always have that, you know? So people get cookbooks for a variety of reasons. I mostly want them to be useful. So I don't collect them in like a historical sense. I want to make things.
Molly, what about you? Because you love cookbooks too. How many cookbooks are in your house?
Okay, so I have been thinking about this a lot because I have been Marie Kondoing lately. I have been paring down the things that I have collected over the years, and cookbooks are one of them, most definitely. And asking myself, not just does it spark joy, but like, when's the last time I actually used this thing? You know, I bought it. Maybe I used it at one point in my life, but I don't feel like I've touched this in a while. Maybe I should let somebody else enjoy this and discover it. So I've been actually giving away some of my cookbooks.
That's a good idea.
It's a good thing to do, especially if they're not sparking joy.
Right. If they're collecting dust. I'll say I've got 7. I counted them, which I'm like pretty proud about. I'm just at the very beginning here. But the discussion about use, and I don't even use all of them. So, so there's already this discussion about use for the cookbooks is big. Like, Lindsay, why would you buy a cookbook when you've got the internet or New York Times Cooking?
I actually have some strong feelings about this. When you go to a cookbook, you are looking for something specific, ideally, right? If you are just looking for a recipe like how long to roast squash, the internet's got you, right? It'll be faster. if you are looking to have something that you know is like trusted and vetted, that's one reason I love cookbooks. So it's why you would read a restaurant review instead of just going to Yelp, right? Because the source is trusted. The other reason that I like my cookbooks is because the best ones have a voice. So someone like Melissa Clark, for example, she has been developing recipes for, I think, decades now. She is someone who's never going to have you use 3 pans when you could use 1. She is someone who's never going to have you buy like a lot of an expensive ingredient and use a teaspoon. She is someone who understands how people cook, right? So it's a trusted source. And absolutely blogs can be that too. If you like have a relationship with like Love and Lemons and like that's the one that you love.
Molly just lifted up her Love and Lemons book. I was going to say, we're Love and Lemons fans. I don't have the book, but I like the blog.
But yeah, so something where it's going to be tested, there's going to be the author's voice as part of it. It is a way, at least for me, to explore foods of different cultures that are not my own and to cook them in my own home in a way that it has been adapted specifically for a home cook. But also, too, to just step away from my computer a little bit. Like one of the things that I love about cooking is that I'm not looking at a screen. And I don't want to be looking at a screen when I'm cooking. I want to be experiencing the color and the smell and the texture of everything. And you're tasting as you go. You're using different senses. We spend so much time in front of our computers. Cookbooks to me are an invitation out of that.
So true. All of us are like, yes, preach. Look away from the screen.
This is my struggle, though. It's like, okay, all of the things you said, yes. But searchability. I want the analog medium, the physical copy, the thing you can spill sauce on and it doesn't matter. And it's just going to make you remember the last time you made that thing. But I want to be able to find things really fast. And when you have a lot of different books and some of them you barely remember, and it's like, oh, I have this ingredient and I want a recipe that's going to use it. And I could just like do a few keystrokes on the internet and boom, find one. That's my struggle. Is like, do I want to spend a half hour or an hour like perusing a dozen different books to find where that recipe was because I can't remember which book it was in?
So a couple ideas about that. One is meal planning and like actually giving yourself like whatever, half an hour on a weekend or something to actually plan some meals for the week. Then you are probably less likely, right, to be like, oh, I got to use up this fennel. What am I going to do? That actually happened to me the other day. And I was like, I know that I have a couple of books here that are likely to have fennel in it. Sure enough, Barefoot Contessa came through, the original cookbook, 2003 or something. That cookbook had a great recipe for potato fennel soup. That was my lunch yesterday. So there, I think knowing some of the cookbooks that you have or like knowing where you're likely to go, meal planning is part of that. I will also spend like a week or two with one cookbook. Or longer sometimes, where you're just really taking time and like getting to know some of your cookbooks a little bit.
I wanted to ask you, Lindsay, what cookbook have you been like going back to lately?
So a cookbook that I have been cooking out of a lot recently is Molly Baz's More is More. Her first book was called Cook This Book, and it was all techniques that you would like do at least 2 or 3 times throughout the book. I ended up cooking all 98 recipes in it. Not really on purpose at first. I just started making them and then I kept finding more that I liked. I think that's a really fun challenge actually for the new year is just to cook an entire book because you pick something ideally that has similar flavor profiles that you like. Like don't pick something that's like, well, it's a real stretch. Like pick something that you're already vibing with. And in the case of that book, I'm, okay, well, I'm going to learn how to, poach eggs better or, fry in this specific way and use this kind of sprinkle stuff that she puts on there. Her new book came out a couple of months ago. I'm already about 10 recipes deep. It's really fun cooking through it.
You should have a high standard when it comes to your protein choices. With Jones Dairy Farm, they pride themselves on never cutting corners, using the best quality ingredients, and providing a 100% satisfaction guarantee. They're 7th generation family owned for a reason, because they've kept true to their roots and values, and are determined to continue their tradition of distinctive quality products you can trust and enjoy every day. Jones, making mealtimes better since 1889.
We have one more act for you this evening. I don't even need to say his name. Mr. Bob Dylan.
A Complete Unknown is now a Golden Globe and Critics' Choice nominee for Best Picture.
Bobby, what do you want to be?
Whatever it is they don't want me to be.
Timothée Chalamet astonishes as Bob Dylan in one of the best performances of the year.
Through the bumps of dime in your prime.
And critics rave Edward Norton is absolutely fantastic.
70,000 people are here, and Bobby is the reason for it.
They just want me singing Blowing in the Wind for the rest of my life.
Don't miss the movie critics are hailing 5 stars.
Today on your own.
It's pure cinematic magic.
Turn it down.
Play loud.
And named to AFI and the National Board of Review's top 10 films of the year.
Make some noise, BD. Track some mud on the carpet.
A Complete Unknown. Now playing only in theaters. Rated R. Under 17 and admitted without parent.
What about you, Molly? What have you been reaching for lately? Or catch yourself reaching for?
Okay, well, this time of year, I do a lot of baking, cookie baking. It's just the thing. I love making tins for people. I feel like there's all these cookie swaps, and
You're a
just
master
fun.
gift giver. I have to let people know.
I love making like cookie tins for folks with all different kinds of varieties. And so I go to How to Bake Everything by Mark Bittman, which is one of these like encyclopedias. It's a doorstopper. It's huge. It is something that it's like pick an ingredient, pick a recipe. It's probably in here. You can use it as a reference guide. And so that's kind of my go-to.
We're going to film this conversation next time because I am like getting the show of my life. These books are beautiful.
I love Dorie Greenspan for baking. And that's another, Baking with Dorie is one that I've baked out of quite a bit. She also has Dorie's Cookies, which is an entire book full of cookies. And so I love that. I love Claire Saffitz's Dessert Person. She has a new one called What's for Dessert, and I don't like it as much as I like the first one. But Dessert Person is excellent. She has this thing where there's a scale of how hard it is and how much time it takes. So you can choose, like, I only have this much time and I have these ingredients. And I think the best cookbooks do that kind of thing where they have like something where it's like, here's how you can use this book because they want to be used.
Heck yeah. I get to participate now. And it's not a new one, but salt, fat, acid, heat. I'm bringing this up now because I got it because I wanted to learn how to cook, and it has so many good, like, the visuals in it are key, and like they've got like Venn diagrams, like every different type of diagram they've got it in there, but in this really cute, like sweet, accessible way. And I'm not trying to make it diminutive because it's cute, because cute holds power. It's by Samin Nasrat. I'm bringing it up too because just to mention that I really get for the first time, Lindsay, that what makes these books special is like the voice.
Yeah.
The voice of the author. And that's something that I feel like this book has a lot of voice.
Samin had a podcast during the earlier part of the pandemic, and it was just people would just call in and be like, what should I do with beans? and she would answer.
Amazing.
There was a lot of talk about beans. We were all like cooking our pantries in the pandemic, I think. Like,
yeah. Well, she like goes through and it like, what will salt do to this item? Like, this, like really just super down to earth, like helpful things. I love it. Well, Lindsay, I'm thinking about the fact that you are someone that recommends getting a cookbook and like going all the way through it, which is beautiful and insane and why I love you. People are thinking about like gifts to give. I don't know if you have any books that you feel like you should go like all the way through on this book. And that might be a gift someone gives to someone. A gift and a challenge.
A gift and a challenge. So if I was giving a recommendation to Molly, for example, I would ask, like, have you cooked out of Love Soup by Anna Thomas? It's a book of all vegetarian soups. It's wonderful.
No.
It's
Sounds soulful.
I've given it as a gift to friends before. A friend of mine is vegetarian, and she has cooked out of it quite a bit as well. But beautiful, well-made soups. Some of them are a little bit more complicated, and some of them are very straightforward and simple. Different ways of making stock, vegetarian stock. Fast, Fresh, and Green by Susie Middleton is another one that's very vegetable forward. It's one of my faves. That one was pretty formative for me too. There's one called East by Mira Soda, which is Pan-Asian, vegetarian, and vegan. Excellent cookbook. And then Supernatural by Heidi Swanson is a classic. She's Bay Area as well. All vegetarian and some vegan in there too, I think. So something like that, where it's like, okay, well, what are you looking for? When I think about like your New Year's resolution is to cook more, Julia Turshen's Small Victories. Julia
Small
Turshen
Victories. I love that title.
Yeah. So she's got one called Now and Again, which is like how you like make a dish one time, then here's how you use all the leftovers.
Smart.
So you make a thing once and then you can use it a bunch of different ways. Small Victories, I just love. The recipes are super straightforward. They are like uncomplicated and delicious and very relatable. I love that book. There are several too that have a really Midwestern perspective, like specifically for Midwestern folks. So it also depends a little bit on like, do you want something local, right?
Yes, we do. You better believe it. We've got some great local cookbooks, right?
So the Dane County Farmers Market Cookbook, I know, is one I think, do we all have that one? I think we all have that one.
We all have that one.
We all have that cookbook. So good.
And it's fire.
Yeah. Well, Molly, you've got a background with farmers markets. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those coffee table books that I want to give to people that love the market and like have as a memento and a keepsake of Madison. A lot of the recipes were not necessarily like new to me, right? I felt like they were things that were like, yeah, this is good. I do this, you know? So it's kind of more of like a reminder of things that I like that are also seasonal.
I really appreciated how in that book there's a section where she's like, here's what I got from the chef, and here's what we did to make it work for you at home. Cheers.
Totally.
No, we've got to mention the Osteria Papavero cookbook because that one, it was the discussion with him, the chef, and your co-writer on that book, Francesco Mangano.
Yeah.
Literally blew me away. He was like speaking about it so beautifully. It's like set up geographically is because he lived in Italy. And he's like moving from the mountains to the sea. Like it was like the most soulful food conversation I've ever had.
Yeah. He's from Bologna. He grew up in Bologna, but he would summer both in the mountains and on the ocean. And so he had, these family trips and this nostalgia for that. That was a lot of fun because we tested and photographed the recipes in the restaurant itself. And then I sent them all out to people to test because that's a big thing. And Terese does that with her cookbooks too. So the Farmers Market Cookbook has also been tested by home cooks. And I think that is such an important step because restaurants are not homes and we have different size pans and, different things like that where you have to say, no, nobody's going to make 12 loaves of this bread. You have to scale it down, so that people can make it. There's a new cookbook called Wisconsin Field to Fork by Lori Fredrich. She's based in Milwaukee, but she interviewed farmers from all over the state. And there's all these great recipes in that one. Amy Thielen has a new cookbook out called Company. Her first book was The New Midwestern Table, and it was excellent. There's a Caesar salad in there with like salami that you fry in the pan that I could not stop making. I made it over and over and over and over. But she has a new one, Company. It's organized sort of by meals, right? So it gives you like the whole, like here's all the things that you would make together. Abra Berens is a chef and a cookbook author from Michigan. Her third cookbook just came out. It's called Pulp. It's all about fruit. Her other two are Roughage, which is all about veggies, and Grist, which is about grains. Any cookbook author that has a strong sense of the upper Midwest is one that I'm immediately interested in. But those are just so beautifully focused and they have incredible designs and they have interviews with farmers. So it's just this whole kind of like narrative with the recipes and everything. And that's really lovely. Molly is a Food Network person. She's a chef. She's a restaurant owner. She has a cookbook called Home is Where the Eggs Are.
Ain't that the truth?
She's from Minnesota.
Literally true for me.
I thought of you, Molly.
But just really thoughtful cooking from a place where I guess she can't get a ton of ingredients, so she's working with what she can get. And I made a butternut squash soup with like roasted Granny Smith apples and onions, and oh my goodness, it was beautiful. She has some really gorgeous recipes in there, and again, like sort of the sensibility of the Upper Midwest. Couple others that I'm really excited about right now for gifts. So Sola El Whaley has a new cookbook called Start Here. This is maybe one of the most anticipated cookbooks of the year. I picked up that cookbook, Start Here, and also a book called Signature Cocktails by Amanda Schuster. It's a cocktail book, and here's why it's great. A cocktail book, you want the indices to be robust. So I got this vermouth. What am I going to do with it? I've got grapefruit juice. I want to make stuff with grapefruit juice. Like, wait, I'm in the mood for a rum drink. What are my options? Like it categorizes things not only by ingredient, but by like the bar of origin, the bartender, like the style of cocktail. It's really, really well designed. So the cocktails, like if you're like, oh, I'm really in the mood for like something kind of tiki, you can find it so easily. Or if you have a specific ingredient that you got for something else. So that's been lovely.
It is beautiful. You want a robust indice
You want
section.
An index that tells you, right? Because how often you're like, well, I got this one Amaro. Well, now what do I do? I am also really excited about Cured, which is a new book from Paula Forbes and Steve McHugh. It is on pre-order right now. Paula is a Wisconsinite who now lives down in Texas. So that's another one that I'm excited about.
Well, I feel like we're going to definitely have a part 2 of this, y'all. Lindsay, thank you so much. This is so fun.
Thank you, Bianca and Molly.
Thanks, Molly.
Yay. I will be right back going to Lindsay's house to raid her bookshelves. Okay, bye.
That's Lindsay Christian's food editor at the Cap Times and former CityCast Madison executive producer Molly Sense. That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin. If you enjoyed the show, why not share this episode with your favorite home chef? We hope that you're enjoying your holidays. We're off tomorrow to do the same. And you'll hear our next episode up next Monday. Until then, I hope you take very, very good care.